National Union of Mine Workers is expected to visit miners who were injured when a cage plunged down a shaft at Impala Platinum Mine in Rustenburg. 11 miners were killed in that accident. Newzroom Afrika's Ziniko Mhlaba is on the ground for us. Ziniko, I know that you were trying to get some sort of feedback, engaging with the people on the ground there, how they're affected, as well as what the mining bosses have to say. What have you found?
Well, in Paul, we had a conversation with a mine worker who was actually on shift on that particular tragic day in which 11 miners lost their lives. And the information that came out of that conversation we had with that miner whom we cannot identify is a bit worrying, to say the least. It's very, very shocking because he told us information that was not shared with us as members of the media yesterday during that press briefing in terms of what actually unfolded before the tragic incident and actually what led to that particular incident. But what was very shocking in that conversation I had with that miner was the fact that the workers who actually lost their lives on that day were not supposed to be on shift at that particular time. So I'm just going to try to summarize some of the key things that came out of that conversation I had with him. So the miner we spoke to said that the people who got injured were supposed to do an earlier shift, an early morning shift, which is usually, they clock in at about 4 a.m. in the morning and they knock off at 12 midday. So that's the shift those people were meant to do on that day. However, before embarking on the particular shift, the workers have to have access to water so that they can drink it before they get into the mine itself, so that they cannot get dehydrated once they are underground. You know that it is very warm, it is very hot inside, the mine itself when they have to start with their operation. So there was a problem of water before they embarked, and there was a delay in terms of giving them access to water. So the workers, refused or delayed, getting into their shaft due to not having access to water. They promised that the water will be collected from another level within the shaft so that the workers can be able to have access to water before embarking onto the mining operation. So that was delayed to such an extent that the workers felt that it was a bit late for them to even get inside the shift anymore. So some of them started disembarking, some of them started walking out of the mine thinking that, well, it's already too late for us to continue to start a new shift, so we might as well go home so that the next shift can start, which is supposed to be starting in the afternoon around 2 p.m. So accordingly, they started leaving, but they were ordered by their chief boss, who was on shift on that day, that they cannot leave site, so they need to return to the site so that they can start working. And they started working. And some of them refused to start working. They went home. One of the miners we spoke to was one of those people who decided to leave. And then his friends and family members who were working on the same shift decided to return because they were fearing for their lives. So they needed to secure their job. So they started the shift late. They meant to knock off at 12. But they ended up now working up until 4 p.m. So when they were returning to the surface at about 6 p.m., that's where now that tragic incident took place. So the latest information which we just got is that the people who got injured on that particular day were people who were supposed to be doing the morning shift. They were not even supposed to be on shift at 6 p.m. So allegedly, on their return to the service, that's where now that conveyor belt had problems. And obviously, some of them ended up losing their lives. The gentleman saying that he knows about 7 co-workers who got injured. Some of them lost their limbs and some of them lost their lives. So that's the information the mining company did not share with us, which we are hoping that in the next 2 days we'll try to get answers from the union themselves, but also try to get, to double check and test these allegations that were made to us by these workers. So that's something that is very, very shocking, because if there were water challenges, why were the workers, forced to go underground? And if it was too late for them to get underground, why were they threatened, so before, embarking on that shift? Remember that if they knock off at 12, a new shift is supposed to be starting in the afternoon around 2 p.m. So where was the shift that was supposed to be, embarking on a new shift at 2 p.m.? So those are some of the answers Paul will try to get from the mining companies and from the union, whether they knew about these allegations or not, if they have access to this information. And upon receiving this information from us, what is it that's going to be happening now? However, we are outside one of the places where mine workers come and collect water. So it seems as if the water allegation is true from what we're seeing from where we are. We are seeing mine workers, this is their community, this is where they stay. So this is the local community where mine workers reside in. So apparently, even within the community itself, they've got water problems. They go about a day or 2 or even 3 days without having water running out of their taps. So the mining company had installed these makeshift taps in this particular communal area. We can't access it because it's a property of the mine. But there are community members we've seen coming out to reach, as we see that gentleman there pushing a wheelbarrow. He's coming through to get water inside this mining property where they've been advised to come and collect water. So this is a clear illustration and a clear proof that actually the mining facility does have water challenges, as we are seeing people coming in to collect water so that they take the water back to their own residences. So that's something that we need to probe with the mining company in terms of, are they having water issues, and what are the effects of having such, water challenges when it comes to having to run their mining operations, and are they following the law? Minister Gwede Mantashe actually, during that press briefing, did say that actually workers do have a right to refuse to get underground or to do any water if they feel that they are not safe. So that's the latest from us here, Paul, as far as the situation on the ground is concerned. So those are the latest revelations we've just received from a mine worker we spoke to.
Very well. Thank you so much, Ziniko Mhlaba, giving us the latest there on a developing story that we continue to track throughout the course of the day.